What if I told you there is a way to make fish come to your spot from 50 yards away without casting a single line? Sounds impossible, but it is real, and it has been used by commercial fishermen for over 100 years in secret. This method does not require expensive equipment or any special skills at all whatsoever. You set it up once, and fish literally swim to you like they are being called by name. The technique uses something you throw away every single week without thinking twice about it, something that ends up in your trash can after dinner and costs you absolutely nothing to obtain. When you place this material in the water correctly, it creates a chemical reaction that fish cannot ignore. They sense it from incredible distances and swim directly toward the source in numbers you have never seen. A commercial crabber on the Chesapeake Bay stumbled onto this method in the 1950s by complete accident. He was using traditional bait when his boat tipped, and his dinner scraps fell into his trap. When he pulled that trap up 2 hours later, it was so full of fish he could barely lift it. Every trap with dinner scraps outperformed every trap with store-bought bait by 5-1 that day. He never told another soul what he discovered because it gave him an edge nobody could match. For 30 years, he dominated every fishing ground he worked while other fishermen struggled around him. Today, I am breaking that silence and showing you exactly what he used and how to use it. The material is eggshells. Plain, ordinary eggshells from your breakfast that you throw in the garbage every morning. And before you laugh or click away, let me explain the science that makes this work. Eggshells are pure calcium carbonate, which dissolves slowly in water and raises the pH level around it. Fish are extremely sensitive to pH changes because it signals biological activity in the water column. A rising pH means decomposition is happening, which means food is available somewhere close by. The second mechanism is the membrane inside the eggshell, which contains proteins that break down underwater. These proteins release amino acids that create a scent trail fish follow from far away like breadcrumbs. The third factor is the texture, because crushed eggshells create a white cloud when they settle. This cloud mimics the look of bait fish scales and disturbed sediment, which attracts predators immediately. And the fourth element is the calcium itself, because fish need calcium for bone development and health. They are drawn to calcium sources instinctively, especially during spawning season when their bodies demand it. 4 biological triggers, firing at once from something you are going to throw away anyway today. No store-bought chum or attractant can match this combination because they do not have the calcium component. Welcome to Blue Treasure, where we expose the secrets the fishing industry buries to protect their profits. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button and the bell right now immediately. Everything I teach on this channel comes from old-timers, commercial fishermen, and methods banned from competition. I have compiled all of this forbidden knowledge into the Forbidden Fishing Manual available in the first link. Homemade baits that cost nothing and outfish anything in stores by a mile every time. Natural attractants that turn dead zones into feeding frenzies within minutes of application. Techniques that have been passed down in fishing families for generations but never shared publicly. Water reading skills that let you find fish in any body of water within 10 minutes. And moon phase secrets that triple your catch rate when you time your trips correctly. Everything is in the manual. No fluff, no filler, just the methods that work. First link in the description. But stay here because I am about to show you exactly how to prepare and use eggshells. Here's how you collect and prepare eggshells for fishing the right way starting today at home. Every time you crack eggs for breakfast or cooking, save the shells in a container by the sink. Rinse them lightly to remove any raw egg residue, but do not scrub them clean completely. That membrane inside the shell is valuable, so you want to preserve it as much as possible. Let the shells air dry for a few hours or overnight until they are completely dry and brittle. Once dry, crush them into pieces about the size of a dime using your hands or a rolling pin. You do not want powder and you do not want large chunks, either just small pieces. Store the crushed shells in a sealed container or a Ziploc bag until your next fishing trip soon. A dozen eggs will give you enough crushed shells for 3 full days of fishing without running out. The preparation takes less than 5 minutes total and costs you absolutely nothing but time and effort. Now here's how to use eggshells on the water to create a feeding zone that lasts for hours. When you arrive at your fishing spot, take a handful of crushed eggshells and scatter them in the water. Throw them in a circle about 10 feet in diameter around where you plan to position your line. The shells will sink slowly, creating a white cloud as they descend to the bottom below. Wait at least 20 minutes before you start fishing to let the shells begin dissolving and releasing. During those 20 minutes, the calcium carbonate is raising the pH and the proteins are breaking down. Fish within 50 yards will start sensing the change and begin moving toward your spot instinctively. After 20 minutes, cast your line with whatever bait you normally use into the center of the zone. The eggshells are not the bait themselves, but the attractant that brings fish to your bait faster. You will notice that bites come quicker and more frequently than fishing without the eggshells there. Every hour, throw another handful of crushed shells to keep the attraction zone active and working. The constant resupply maintains the pH change and the scent trail that keeps fish in the area. For maximum effect, mix the crushed eggshells with breadcrumbs before throwing them in the water together. The breadcrumbs sink slower and spread the shells over a wider area, creating a larger zone. Catfish respond especially well to this because they are bottom feeders that hunt by scent exclusively. Bass come to investigate the white cloud because it looks like feeding activity from other fish. Carp cannot resist the calcium signal because their bodies crave it for bone and scale development. Crappie and bluegill swarm the area because the proteins mimic the insects they feed on naturally. This method works in lakes, rivers, ponds, and even salt water for species like redfish and snook. Now let me tell you why the tackle industry will never teach you this method ever in their lives. The chum and attractant industry makes hundreds of millions every year selling bags and bottles of product. Those products cost $15 to $40 per container and claim to have secret formulas inside. If you read the ingredient labels, you will find calcium compounds listed right there in the contents. You will find protein derivatives that do exactly what eggshell membranes do when they dissolve slowly. You will find pH buffers designed to change the water chemistry just like calcium carbonate does. They took the concept of eggshells and packaged it in expensive containers with fancy names on them. A $30 bag of chum does the same thing as a week's worth of eggshells from your kitchen. If every fisherman in America knew this, the chum industry would collapse in less than 1 month. That is why you will never see this on a fishing show or read about it in magazines. The companies sponsoring those platforms sell the exact products this method replaces for free completely. Commercial fishermen have known about eggshells since the 1950s, but kept it secret to maintain their edge. They would crush hundreds of shells and dump them near their nets and traps every single day. The catch rates were so much higher than fishermen who did not use shells that it was not even close. But they never shared the method because their livelihoods depended on outfishing the competition consistently. In the 1980s, a few bass fishermen discovered the technique and started winning local tournaments repeatedly. The tournament directors investigated and found crushed eggshells in their boats after weigh-ins were complete. Within 1 year, a new rule was written, banning any calcium-based attractants from sanctioned events. The rule was written specifically to stop eggshells without mentioning them by name to avoid publicity. That rule is still in effect today, which proves just how effective this method truly is out there. Here are advanced tips to maximize your results with eggshells on every single fishing trip you take. Brown eggshells from organic eggs work better than white shells because they contain more minerals overall. Adding coffee grounds to the crushed eggshells creates a darker cloud that bass find irresistible in clear water. Mixing in a tablespoon of salt with the shells boosts the scent trail in freshwater environments dramatically. For night fishing, sprinkle the shells near lights because fish gather under lights to feed after dark. In moving water like rivers, throw the shells upstream and let the current carry them to your spot. Store your crushed shells in the freezer, and they will last for months without losing any effectiveness. If you want to take this to the next level, bake the eggshells at 200 degrees for 10 minutes first. Baking dries them completely and makes them easier to crush into finer pieces that dissolve faster. The faster they dissolve, the quicker the attraction zone activates and starts pulling fish in from distance. And if you combine eggshells with the other methods I teach in the Forbidden Fishing Manual, your results will explode. The manual shows you how to stack multiple attractants for a compounding effect that is absolutely devastating. Natural baits mixed with homemade scents, combined with eggshell zones, create feeding frenzies on demand every time. First link in the description gets you instant access to everything right now before your next trip. If this video opened your eyes to what the industry has been hiding from you, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment below and tell me if you have ever heard of using eggshells for fishing before today. Share this video with every fisherman you know, because this knowledge belongs to everyone, not just the elite. While tackle shops sell you expensive chum and fancy bags, we are fishing smarter with trash from breakfast. Tight lines. And remember, the best techniques are the ones they do not want you to know about ever.